Hey guys, welcome back to another lesson with Cody Harris Aviation. Today I decided to do a whole new method to do my video. It's my first experience doing screen capture, or window capture in this case. And I'm going to sort of do a more thorough job of looking at the first three segments of the R-44 Raven II Pilot's Operating Handbook. I'm going to be looking at the introduction, general, and limitations section of the POH. So first thing we've got here is under the model of the helicopter is that the helicopter is approved in the normal category based on FAR 27 Part 21. And materials in this handbook are required to be first the pilot. It would give the helicopter a serial number if this POH were designated for a particular helicopter. Like, so if this was a if this were done as a physical pilot's operating handbook like this, it would actually be in the helicopter and would have the particular serial number for that aircraft right on this line here. They would also have the registration number or the N number right here. We've got the FAA approval date as well as the signature of the guy who did the approval all the way back in October 3rd of 2002. Alright, so here it talks a little bit about if you want the subscription service. The subscription service is basically when you get your pilot's operating handbook, it's current as of the date that it was printed. However, if you want to have future updates as they come out from Robinson, you have to subscribe to their service, which is $25 for, I believe, every 2-year period, and they'll send you all their future updates and notices for the POH. Or if you want to get your POH up to date, you can send them $15 and they'll give you all past due updates as well. I suggest that you put your name, address, and information in here and send it along with your payment for that. Alright, so here we have the different sections of this POH. So like here's the limitation sections, here are all the different pages and their approval dates by the FAA. Signature of the guy that approved them and the date. Now here's a section that apparently is not requiring FAA approval. I'm not really sure why that is. It's another topic for more study. Alright, next we've got the general contents. Alright, so first off they've got an introduction and some disclaimers here. This handbook's not required or not designed as a substitute for adequate and competent flight instruction. Ensuring that the helicopter is airworthy condition is responsibility of the owner, but the pilot in command is responsible for determining that the aircraft is safe for flight. The pilot is also responsible for remaining within the operating limitations as outlined by the instrument markings, placards, and this POH. It recommends that you get familiar with the handbook before you start flying, because obviously it's difficult to read once you are actually in flight, as if that's not apparent. Got the caution defined here. That's cute. Let's see. Alright, so now we're up on the section that gives you the dimensions for the rotors, the length, the width, the height, etc. We've got all the specs. We've got the articulation of the rotor system, the number of blades, diameter, cord, blade twist, dry system, cooling system, power plant. Alright, so at the power plant, it's a model, it's a Lycoming model IO-540. So Lycoming is the manufacturer. The I stands for fuel injected, and the O stands for an unopposed engine, which means that instead of having a single piston running up and down a cylinder, It's actually two pistons that are moving toward each other and away. So they are opposing each other. The 540 stands for 540 cubic inches of displacement in the engine. Give some specs. It's 6-cylinder, horizontally opposed, direct drive, air cooled. Alright, so the engine is actually able to produce more power than what is shown here, but Robinson only allows that the engine is run up to 245 brake horsepower for up to 5 minutes at a time, and below that, or after the first 5 minutes is up, then you can only do 205 horsepower on a continuous basis. That's generally to avoid, or that drop in horsepower for maximum continuous is generally to reduce the amount of stress that's put on engine components as well as the airframe and other stuff. Also, the engine has actually been derated or only been approved in this application for this helicopter to produce 245 horsepower, even though physically the engine can produce a lot more. The reason for that is it gives a more reliable experience if you're flying at high density altitudes, and it just primarily gives you a larger buffer zone. If you try to use too much power, you won't get low rotor RPM, as in you have more of a buffer zone between the amount of power that you should be using and the amount of power that you could be using, up to the point where it's gonna basically run you into a tight spot power-wise. Got some performance definition here, some airspeed stuff, got some altitude information, and let me know in the comments if you want to see more details on this stuff in a later video. I'm just sort of doing a quick run through at this point. Alright, we've got the reference datum. The reference datum is kind of a weight and balance term. It's basically an imaginary line from which all weight and balance calculations are calculated from, and that point is 100 inches forward of the main rotor mass center line. Other criteria about usable and unusable fuel, payload, usable load, basic empty weight. This is all stuff I'd recommend memorizing on your own if you're working on getting your pilot's license, because you're definitely going to be testing out on your check ride. Alright, that's about it for that segment.